Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to the latest version of Notre Dame Daily. I'm Pete Mulroy, and I want to just start with something that's not earth-shattering news. You might have seen it on the Fighting Irish Athletic website a couple days ago. Notre Dame adding Wake Forest to the 2027 schedule. They'll play in the Duke's Mayo Classic. Now, the game will be played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte on Saturday, October 9th of 2027. That stadium, of course, the home to the NFL's Carolina Panthers. Notre Dame, no stranger to success in this history with the Demon Deacons. A perfect 6-0 in the contest, including a 47-7 drubbing of Wake in 2023 in South Bend. I was at that game. It was bad. The Irish were on point from start to finish. And now when you start to look at, we know what lies ahead in 2025 from top to bottom, opening with Miami and then a week off. Home opener, week 3, Notre Dame's second game against Texas A&M. The 26 and 27 schedules are shaping out as well, specifically 27. 26 is basically locked down. When you now look at Wake Forest being added to this 27 slate, it's added to a group that already includes home games against Purdue, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Navy, with a 2027 road slate that presently has the Irish heading to East Lansing for a date with Michigan State. You know, back in the day, those were great games between Notre Dame and Michigan State. So it's nice to see that sort of coming back into the fold on the heels of what we talked about yesterday with the reshaping of these conferences. You're losing a lot of these traditional matchups and rivalry games. It's pretty cool to see the next couple of years that we'll have Notre Dame, Michigan State for a home and home. And then you've got in 27, Notre Dame taking a trip to Memorial Stadium for a showdown with Clemson, which are always entertaining games. So obviously you continue to prepare for this season, but it is fun to look down the road. And the 26 schedule after this one packs its own powerful punch. Of course, Notre Dame will open September 6th to 26th at Lambeau Field against Wisconsin. And then they've got to prepare the rest of the season for games against Michigan State, UNC, USC, of course. Florida State is back. Miami's on the home slate, and SMU. So it's an interesting, challenging schedule like it usually is for the Irish. The 26 slate looks a little bottom-heavy there after you get out of that Wisconsin game in the beginning. But it's a fun schedule. There's a lot of games that you're going to have opportunities the next couple of years to take in top flight competition in South Bend. Think of Boise State, obviously the A&M game. You want to go on the road. Notre Dame this year will be in Arkansas. You've got going back to East Lansing, Clemson. So, and then the SMU game, which is a rarity. So you have your pick here if you're looking to make some plans ahead of time, which is always good to do, specifically as it relates to hotel and airfare. You can get the tickets. But, especially coming off a national title run, a run to the championship game, prices went north. They very seldom go south. So jump on it while you can. And all in all, I like the addition of Wake Forest here. I think we knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of where and when it was going to be. Now we know for this 2027 schedule, October 9th, Duke's Mayo Classic against the Demon Deacons at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. So it's pretty cool. As we continue the player profiles, there's a couple more freshmen we're going to get to. Just got to go through the breakdown. Got a lot going on in the 5+ weeks leading up to the season opener on the 31st of August against Miami, obviously. And a lot of these guys that I'll spotlight, just to give my own sort of take or view on them. This is not reinventing the wheel, just a roster breakdown. So I do appreciate that the freshmen and the transfer profiles was something you guys enjoyed. And here's something that we'll probably together more collectively be well-versed in, because we know a lot of the guys that will start to preview on the current roster that have already wet their toes in the previous season, starting with Anthony Knapp. So if we go back a year with Knapp, we're reminded that the stellar freshman campaign that he had when he took over starting left tackle duties because of the Charles Jagasaw injury doesn't happen if Knapp, who originally committed to Virginia Tech, doesn't flip the decision in 2024. And he did it rather early in that year. So this may be a never was as far as Notre Dame is concerned if the flip doesn't take place. Kid was also a high school tight end, so he was raw up front on the O-line from a blocking perspective and a scheme perspective. And even while the growing pains were there early on, we saw that we're not hiding from that. It was obvious. It became even more blatantly obvious that the Georgia native possessed the skill set to shine on what is always a talented Notre Dame front five. Started every game of the 2024 season, which culminated with a loss to Ohio State in the national title game. He became just the third true freshman offensive lineman to start a season opener for Notre Dame. And when you talk about starting every game of a grind of a regular season, that's a big deal. And with each passing week, his skills up front, the consistency with which he played, and his all-around toughness were pointed out across the country. It became pretty evident pretty early that this kid was the real deal, and he became one of the top freshmen in America. Suffered, of course, a high ankle sprain in Notre Dame's Orange Bowl victory over Penn State, missing the Ohio State game, but the final stretch of his season saw him go 9 consecutive games without surrendering a sack. That's huge at the left tackle position. The accolades, of course, added up to helping him earn freshman All-American honors, and he was a part of an offensive line unit that was named a semifinalist for the 2024 Joe Moore Award, which is given annually to the nation's best offensive line unit. I think it was 2017. Notre Dame's O-line took home those honors. So it was a really great debut campaign for Knapp, who was not a high recruit coming out of Roswell High School in Georgia, but Notre Dame beyond happy to have him. And you talk about what his incredible play did. Yeah, you have to have the natural ability, but helped along by the coaching of offensive line coach Joe Rudolph. Now Notre Dame comes into the season with perhaps the nation's best offensive line, even without the services of Charles Jagasaw for X amount of time, coming off the offseason injury, and Gerby Lambert still recovering as he appears to be ready to roll for fall camp, which will start in 2 days. More on that tomorrow. But for this season, let's assume the level of play for Knapp, which again was outstanding given the circumstances last season, continues to elevate. Specifically as it relates to playing left tackle once again. Joe Rudolph's going to tinker with the offensive line in camp, given the aforementioned injuries I just pointed out. But conventional wisdom probably tells you Knapp's back there at left tackle, unless perhaps could you create a scenario where he goes to left guard and Will Black continues to blow people away, and you've got a true freshman starting left tackle week one, and then a brand new rookie quarterback one way or the other in C.J. Carr or Kenny Minchey taking their first real significant snaps together. Rule it out? No. Joe Rudolph's going to tinker with what he has up front given some of the circumstances, but I still like Anthony Knapp at that left tackle spot. That development continues. To my original point, what's not to say that this young man can't place himself in All-American talks? I think it's beyond reasonable, specifically coming off the notoriety he gained on the all-freshman team. From my view, I think you'd like to see a bit more consistency in pass protection. But again, given the way he played up front against the run and the fact that he didn't allow a single sack across the final 9 games in which he played, I think we have already sort of started to see that progression, which is huge. Add in the fact that he's going to have veterans like center Ashton Craig, right tackle Emil Wagner, who's been thrown into various All-American teams in recent weeks, preseason, of course. Knapp's got the support of maybe the nation's best group. He's also a ginormous part of that group, particularly at that position he's expected to play left tackle. Okay, and I'll say it time and time again. We'll start getting into the camp previews. Obviously, the biggest battle, if you want to call it that, Carr or Minchey or Carr. But you've got some tinkering potentially up front on the offensive line. Who's going to go where? Secondary matchups, specifically as it relates to being next to Don Schuler in the defensive backfield. We can get into all those things, but up front, regardless of what they elect to do, with Anthony Knapp at the left tackle, which is where I think he'll ultimately be once again, you've got a strong, reliable group that now knows how to play together, play high-leverage football, and protect the quarterback, which is job number one. Open those holes for the running backs, you've done your job. So again, the increased play as it pertains to limiting pressures allowed, which was greatly improved down the stretch, there's no reason to think Anthony Knapp can't be in the conversation as one of the top offensive linemen in the country. I truly believe that. I'm not being exaggeratory. I'm not just saying it because the kid plays at Notre Dame. We saw the building blocks a year ago when he was thrown into this thing due to injury. But you got to be ready to roll. Lumps and pains along the way. Yeah, the true freshman playing left tackle and starting at the position for the University of Notre Dame. And when it was all said and done, 14 wins in 16 games for Notre Dame. He was part of a team that nearly pulled off an epic comeback in the national title game as a freshman left tackle. It's a big deal. Progression continues. You're talking, yes, about developing into one of America's premier offensive lineman. Perhaps to some, it may not look that way now, talented as he is, but put together another strong campaign in year 2. What's not to say that that can't be on the table, and that's not a conversation we can have. Because if Anthony Knapp is the cornerstone at that left tackle position, everything else from a consistency basis falls in line from left to right on that offensive line. It's a big deal. He's a huge part of this going into year 2 with the Golden Domers, and it's going to be great watching him continue to develop, playing high-level football right out of the gates. Week 1, Miami. Week 2, Texas A&M. Want to start to add a little more pizzazz into this because we've been having a lot of fun here, and I appreciate the back and forth banter. Some of you love telling me when you don't like something. I get it. I know the headlines. I get it. Believe me. But we've been having a lot of fun here. So leading into the opening week of the season in late August, let's start having some fun conversations about here. Most of us have been out to South Bend numerous times for game day weekend. So over the course of the next few episodes, I want to kick up the interaction on NDD by highlighting some of the things we all enjoy doing on Saturdays in the fall. So for today, I'm asking you, the viewers, and you'll drop it in the comments right on the show, right on YouTube. Give me your top 3 restaurant spots you like to frequent on Irish football weekends in South Bend. Maybe it's the great food and camaraderie at Fiddler's Hearth. Those of you who've been there know exactly what I'm talking about. Or a trip down Nostalgia Lane with a pie at Rocco's. What are your favorite food spots to visit when heading to Notre Dame Stadium? Maybe it's a steak sandwich on campus at the Knights of Columbus. That's always a fun spot. Let me know in the comments. We'll start to break it down tomorrow. It leads to good discussion. It opens a lot of doors here. The Notre Dame fan base is unique. There's no middle ground. You either love them or you hate them, but the fan base is as passionate as it is. And specifically for me, living here in New York City, there has always been a ginormous Notre Dame fan base. Fundraising clubs and service clubs galore all across the 5 boroughs that stretch out into Long Island, up into Westchester. I'm a part of a club here on Staten Island, Notre Dame Club of Staten Island. It is great. A lot of work gets done. So let's have a little fun as we prepare. The profiles will continue. You want to know some more things? Drop it in the comments. But for today, heading into tomorrow, I want to know, you go out to South Bend for a football game on a Saturday, where are you eating? Give me your top 3 spots, or at least your favorite, and we'll break it down tomorrow when I will also give you mine. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Irish.